We continue with our short series on prayer, and as previously, the point begins with P, the promises of prayer. The word promise means to give an assurance of something to someone. A promise is a guarantee that what we say we will do, we will do. Unfortunately though, we use the phrase take it with a pinch of salt quite a lot, which indicates that people don't always fulfill their promise. And no doubt we've been let down many times over the years. And also, if we're honest, we admit that we too have been the ones sometimes that have been doing the disappointing. But the Bible tells us in Psalm 145 that the Lord is faithful to all his promises. Therefore, whatever our experiences with man have been, we need to put them to one side, because God will never let us down. He will never disappoint us. I want to share 3 short aspects of the promises of prayer. First of all, God will always hear us. Sometimes my wife talks to me and I haven't heard. I might be losing my hearing, or I might be in a world of my own, maybe a combination of the two. But whatever it is that she said to me, I haven't heard a word. And many times she will say to me, I've been talking to you for 5 minutes and you haven't heard a single thing that I've said. We used to have a pet dog and he had selective hearing. When we mentioned the word walk or food, he was attentive, he was alert, he knew what was going on. But the word bath, and he totally ignored us. In other words, he listened to what he wanted to listen to. But God always hears us. That's the promise of prayer. 1 Peter chapter 3, for the eyes of the Lord are on the righteous, and his ears are attentive to their prayer. The second aspect of prayer is that God will always answer us. What we have to realize though is that the answer may not be the one that we want. The Bible tells us, my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. Therefore we trust God, because God sees the big picture. We only see that which is around us, but God sees the beginning from the end. And according to his knowledge, he will answer our prayers accordingly. But he will always answer us. Whatever the outcome, we can rest assured that he will always hear us and he will always answer us. In Ezra chapter 8, so we fasted and petitioned our God about this, and he answered our prayer. But bear in mind that it might not be the answer that we want. But even then, we trust God, because he always works for good for those that love him. And thirdly and finally, God will always bless us. Jesus said, you may ask me for anything in my name, and I will do it, in John chapter 14. Many Christians use this as a shopping list before God, a list of things that they want for themselves. But as with all scripture, we need to take it in context. We need to harmonize it with the rest of the Bible. And when we do so, we see that this scripture really is doing things and praying about things that are in accordance with God's will for our lives, not what we want for our own selfish ends. God may want to challenge us, but even that is a blessing, because whatever God brings into our lives in the form of challenge, it will always be for our well-being and our spiritual development that he chastises us. Jesus asked in Matthew 7, which of you, if his son asks for bread, will give him a stone? Or if he asks for a fish, will give him a snake? If you then, though you are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those who ask him? God will always bless us, but we shouldn't come before him with shopping lists of things that we want for our own ends. Instead, we should be open, because chastisement from the Lord is a blessing. God disciplines those that he loves. So to recap, the promises of prayer. God will always hear us. God will always answer us. And God will always bless us.